You've already received the reward for the cassette tape exchange. Supervisor Kim Soleum. Sir, isn't that enough?
That's funny. You're bold enough to talk like that to someone who gave up their weekend and even skipped work to save your sorry life.
Baek Deok-soo's face turned pale before he reluctantly responded. I began walking briskly down the mountain path. From behind, I heard Baek Deok-soo scrambling to keep up and offering a belated response.
Anyway, I admit I ruined your weekend and caused you to miss work.
I'll transfer 3 days' worth of salary to you, so just wait.
But shortly after, as we entered an area with cell service and our data started working, Baek Deok-soo let out a shout.
The date's exactly the same.
Don't you know it's a rule that time flows differently in ghost stories?
Still, I spent 3 whole days here.
In the end, I got my salary, while Baek Deok-soo, wearing a mix of indignation, relief, and frustration on his face, quickly avoided eye contact and retreated. Haha, regardless of this situation, he seems like the type to live a rough life. Honestly, there was something I should have said earlier. I didn't expect him to go the entire time without even thanking me. What a remarkable guy in so many ways. Though compared to how he was in the something unknown, he seemed a bit less ruthless and slightly more human, for what it's worth. Earlier, when the civil servant encountered this guy in the basement, he gave me some rather chilling advice after a brief, cold glance at him.
Some inherit the silver heart, while others inherit a cassette tape. Like that, matching them well would be a good thing to do.
Yes, thank you, sir.
The government had ensured that the cassette tapes ended up in the hands of criminals, people whose guilt was beyond doubt. Which means this guy was officially recognized as a criminal by the government. Even if I tried to think the best of him, at least one person in Baek Deok-soo's inheritance route had to be a criminal.
It was just something lying around at home. I inherited it from a relative.
I suppose there might be a story behind it. But I stopped thinking further. I didn't have the luxury to dive into the backstories of characters in the wiki. I need to survive this ghost story company first. And before long, this cursed company was back to doing what it does best, bringing bizarre and unpredictable events into my life as if they were the norm. On my way back from a coffee run, someone familiar called out to me in the hallway. It was Lee Byong-jin, the section chief in charge of manual revisions who had gone missing.
Congratulations. I knew our supervisor Kim would go far.
We've only known each other for less than 2 months, sir.
Top of the entry class, scouted to the A squad, saved me, and even connected to the security team. And now, a rapid promotion? Yeah, that's great.
It didn't feel great, but I replied politely anyway. However, instead of wrapping up the conversation and leaving, Section Chief Lee Byong-jin lowered his voice and muttered,
Director Ho has got an eye on you. The director is the best superior you could ever have in this company. Don't miss the opportunity. There's even a rumor that the director runs an external confidential project team. You might get transferred there.
Haha, you don't know what you're saying, sir. In the world of ghost stories, anything labeled confidential cuts your survival odds in half. Instead of saying that, I politely shook my head.
I've been here less than 6 months. I'm not seeking out something like that. I'll just do my best in the position I've been given.
Modest too. I knew I had a good eye for people. Haha.
I was just grateful he conveniently forgot his overbearing attitude from when I was pretending to be part of the security team. People are truly products of their environment. Section Chief Lee patted my shoulder a few times, looking proud, and left with these parting words.
Anyway, I'm curious where you'll end up, really.
That sounded oddly loaded. Why does it feel like he's assuming I'll definitely be going somewhere? That question didn't stay unanswered for long. Later that afternoon...
Hey, Ro. Even if you get reassigned, let's catch up occasionally. I still owe you a meal or two.
I blinked at my somewhat dejected coworker. Wait, did I seriously just get transferred to some strange place? Was the director's interest just a ploy to lull me into complacency before blindsiding me? Why would anyone bother to do something so petty and diabolical to an ordinary employee?
I mean, I'd rather you stayed on our squad, but looking at how things are going...
Fortunately, before I spiraled into panic, Assistant Manager Yoon kindly explained. She said that squads of the field exploration team typically had a 3-person quota, Occasionally, they'd assign 1 or 2 extra members just to train new hires. The new members often stayed as extra personnel until they got promoted.
But you're a supervisor now.
I was the exception to the usual case.
You'll probably be shuffled somewhere else, but don't worry too much.
Is there a chance I could be an exception?
Not really. It's just that the squad will likely stay exactly at its 3-person quota soon. Keep this between us.
Assistant Manager Yoon smirked. A coworker just announced her escape. Office workers always carry their resignation letter with them, whether physically or mentally, over their hearts. However, it's usually hidden. Telling a new hire, though, and from a direct superior, no less.
I've almost collected enough points. Don't go spreading it around.
Given Assistant Manager Yoon Haje's personality, I'd have expected her to keep her poker face until the very day of her resignation, revealing it only at the last moment.
Are you sure it's okay to tell me this?
Why not? It's not exactly bad news. Besides, there are plenty of people in this company who brag about how many points they've accumulated. I just thought I'd let our squad know in advance.
Sniffle. It's so moving seeing this from up close. Sunbain him!
I glanced over at Supervisor Park Min-seong, who had sidled up and was being overly dramatic. He seemed to have known about it beforehand. Must be a company culture thing. After all, this is a job where people risk everything, spinning the chamber of a Russian roulette revolver against their temples, in hopes of fulfilling a seemingly impossible, desperate wish. It made sense that there wasn't much point in hiding the desire to escape. Still, it was a shame to see such a considerate direct superior leave. But for her, this was great news. So congratulations were in order. There was just one thing I didn't understand.
Does that mean you've gathered all 500,000 points?
What? 500,000?
Yoon Haje looked startled before her expression relaxed, and she chuckled knowingly.
Oh, did you think I was aiming for a wish ticket?
Isn't that the norm? Finding someone who isn't would probably be harder around here.
Well, when I first joined, that was my goal too. But after looking around, I realized there are other ways.
Now that I thought about it, not everyone might need to go all the way to a wish ticket. If something you can buy from the employee points mall fulfills your wish, that might be good enough.
I just need one of the high-tier magical potions this company offers.
May I ask how many points it costs?
170,000. I'm less than 5,000 away now. Still, I'll probably have to stick around a few more months to earn the bonus points here and there thanks to you.
Yoon Haje gave a rare playful wink.
I'll talk to the squad leader and see if we can keep you here until the next regular personnel announcement.
That meant I could likely remain on the D squad until then. Afterward, at when she left, the squad would naturally be down to its proper capacity. Her confidence that I'd even want to stay with this squad made it all the more impressive.
Sunbain him. When you leave, we should definitely have a proper squad dinner. And let's stay in touch after you're gone. We could go watch baseball or something?
Of course. You just need to stick it out a few more years, too.
Me? Nah, I'm stuck collecting all 500,000 points.
Despite scratching his head, Supervisor Park's face seemed brighter than usual.
Anyway, this means Ro can stay on our squad, right?
If the squad leader pulls the right strings.
And when the squad leader returned from the section head meeting, they confirmed the matter calmly.
Yes, the odds are in your favor. It's a matter of probability. Do not base your plans on the assumption of staying.
Well, Ro, there you have it.
Anyway, congratulations on your decision, Assistant Manager.
Yoon Haje smiled as he stepped out to smoke. Her back already looked lighter, as if a burden had been lifted. What happens to employees who quit? There were no accounts of resigning staff being secretly detained in labs for confidentiality or disappearing without a trace. There were even descriptions of retired employees having relatively good endings, like those universally liked colleagues that people on the wiki grew attached to. Ensuring the writers gave them satisfying retirements. I hope it goes that way for her too. After a brief moment of reflection, I returned to my work. That meant taking on the tasks assigned by the squad leader who had just returned from the meeting.
This time, the darkness we'll be exploring is a C-class spider from a known source with a completed manual.
Oh, so the points will be around 600 to 700 per person, right?
Ro, it's good we banked on those points when we had the chance.
The influx of new Darkness manual completion explorations that had been almost exclusively assigned to D-Squad was finally slowing down.
There's usually a seasonal burst of new darknesses. The research squad tends to register them all at once as the deadline approaches.
This really feels so company-like. Of course, as a new hire, pointing that out wouldn't do me any good. I smiled faintly and said,
Then we can all work safely for a while, right?
That's what I like about you, Ro. You're always so positive.
Supervisor Park laughed heartily and handed me the tablet displaying the manual in PDF form.
Even with a manual, it's still C-class, so if you let your guard down, it could be serious. Let me know when you've fully gone through it.
Looks one just involves surviving in a certain location for a day.
I took the tablet and started reading. The official manual was written in the usual calm tone, following the same format as always. It resembled the entries in the wiki, meaning the data had been implemented with detailed, practical information based on prior records. This is a ghost story about getting lost in a space within a mostly empty commercial building, a phenomenon referred to online as a type of backroom. As I read the next paragraph, a strong feeling struck me like a hammer. For months now, I'd been using my abilities to infer the true nature of ghost stories and match them to their corresponding manuals. So I wasn't exactly surprised by the general nature of these phenomena anymore. But this situation? It's surprising in a different way. Normally, it's the kind of thing where I'd end up in a scenario like the unknown, involving insane mass slaughter, or a situation where my death is practically guaranteed. But this time, it's different. This is good news. Oh my god, a wholesome ghost story. If fear were measured on a scale, this one would probably be a 0. Even the most faint-hearted could breeze through it after knowing the spoilers. Then why was it rated C-class? Because Daydream Inc. misclassified the grade due to a misunderstanding. This story was meant to bring joy. It was one of those misunderstood ghost stories, seemingly dangerous but actually warm and gentle. It was safe and friendly, but people's biases made it seem scary, leading to amusing misinterpretations. It's more like a magical experience than a ghost story. Naturally, there weren't many cases in the Bureau. My heart raced slightly. Was I really going to experience this? This might not just feel warm and fuzzy. It could actually make my life better. My mind started spinning quickly. To pull this off, there was something I definitely needed to have.
You're being sent in tomorrow afternoon, so there's plenty of time. Take your time reading through it. Though honestly, you probably don't even need me to explain things, Ro.
In that case, would it be okay if I stepped out for a bit during lunch tomorrow?
Huh? Well, I don't think either Squad Leader Lee or the Assistant Manager Yoon would mind, but why? If it's for a doctor's visit, we can give you extra time.
Oh no, it's not that.
I thought about my bank account and started counting.
There's something I need to buy.
To make the most of this wholesome ghost story, I needed to bring along something very expensive. The next day, after lunch, we traveled to the site in Assistant Manager Yoon's car, heading to the location where the darkness was contained.
Got everything you wanted to bring?
The expensive thing I had purchased during lunch was safely packed in my briefcase. From the driver's seat, the assistant manager checked.
Ro, this is your first time entering an urban legend that takes place in a real location, rather than being kidnapped by touching some cursed item, isn't it?
No. In fact, I just pretended to be a serial killer at a lodge full of dismembered corpses, nearly throwing up in the process. But let's not bring that up.
Haha. You're still in your 20s, right, Ro? This must be your first job then.
The atmosphere was warm as we traveled, exchanging some light-hearted conversation.
Did you know? Our squad leader once broke the steering wheel 3 times while on duty. Now there's a rumor he won't sit in the driver's seat again unless it's a full-blown zombie apocalypse.
Maybe I shouldn't ask about that directly. Anyway, after about 40 minutes, the car smoothly arrived at its destination. It was a tightly packed alley of commercial buildings in the suburbs of Seoul. Once bustling during a real estate boom, it had become eerily quiet and desolate due to new urban development drawing people away. An old new town, so to speak. Numerous vacant windows displayed real estate signs advertising properties for sale or rent.
One of these buildings is the urban legend. If you enter during the golden hour on a sunny day, something strange happens.
Accompanied by my superiors, who helpfully summarized the manual's details, I approached the designated commercial building.
Civilians are blocked from entering this place. It seems like some kind of security team equipment is being used. But it recognizes our badges and lets us through.
Be careful once we're inside. There are quite a few disturbing records, so stay vigilant.
Are you referring to something?
Exploration Record 12. One of the staff members deployed, employee Young Sejong, discovered an operational shop at room 404, next to the emergency exit on the 4th floor. The sign displayed the name Something Cafe. However, as the staff member approached the location, strange sounds not originating from the cafe began to be heard. Barking, shouting, and the howling of beasts overlapped into a cacophony that grew louder and louder, as if rushing toward him. Just as the staff member stopped in front of the door, the sound suddenly surged closer, as though something was about to charge out. Panicking, the staff member fled to the emergency stairs just before the door opened, but fell unconscious after a loud crash. Later, the staff member was found unconscious near the building, suffering from open fractures in both legs and severe back injuries, rendering him unfit for duty. He subsequently reported persistent PTSD.
At first glance, it sounds eerie and horrific. That's just a dog-friendly cafe. The barking scared the employee, causing him to flee and tumble down the stairs, leading to multiple injuries. The ghost story actually kindly ejected the staff member from the premises. This darkness is just a space where the old shops continue to operate normally. That's as weird as it gets. It's the kind of story where overzealous explorers, misinterpreting everything as sinister, end up creating problems for themselves, eliciting a wry chuckle from observers. And here I am, standing next to people who are eagerly giving me advice as if it's all serious.
Let's be cautious. There are records of this space-harming entrance. Especially, don't lose consciousness. That usually results in severe injuries.
Even if someone passes out or gets hurt badly, the space politely ejects them after a while. This is literally a shopping complex that ensures people leave once business hours are over. Still, I refrained from explaining. I didn't want someone to think, oh, this ghost story induces psychological contamination, and spiral into more exaggerated misunderstandings. Instead, I simply nodded when they suggested splitting up to cover more ground efficiently while staying in contact.
Are you sure you'll be okay, Ro?
Normally, I'd cling to someone's coattails out of nervousness, but today is the perfect day for a coward's adventure.
Call immediately if anything happens.
Equipped with a walkie-talkie provided by the security team, which oddly reminded me of a toy I'd seen in the alien shop, I moved out.
Is there a specific shop you want to visit? It seems a few are still operational.
Yes, but they're a bit tricky to reach. The space here was warped, with floors and directions all jumbled, but some semblance of order and rules could occasionally be discerned. One such rule involved the elevator. When taking it from the 7th floor, a button for the basement might randomly appear. After several attempts, I finally saw the button labeled B1.
Ah, a hidden location? Reminds me of that elegant exhibition we went to recently.
Did you really have to bring that up? I still have nightmares about wandering endlessly in the basement of that exhibition, bumping into mechanical spiders, and losing vital organs. This is a kind and gentle place. A kind and gentle place. Shaking off the memories, I pressed the button. The doors opened to reveal a parking garage. Someone once fainted here after hearing a car horn, I think. That's not the point. I carefully followed the instructions I remembered. 3 turns to the left. After circling the parking garage 3 times, a new section number, previously invisible, appeared. This meant I had arrived. With growing excitement, I walked toward it. Next to this parking section was a door leading into the shopping complex. Instead of heading to the elevators, I turned to the side, where a small shop awaited. Moonlight Tattoo Shop. Next to the underground parking lot, there was a small space that seemed to embody a landlord's desperate attempt to squeeze in one more rental shop for extra income. That small space was occupied by the little shop I had planned to visit today, a special tattoo shop.
Dark Exploration Records Ghost Story. Moonlight Tattoo Shop. A ghost story featured in Dark Exploration Records. Daydream Inc. Identification Code, NCA. The only official record from Daydream Inc. about this location is a one-off entry titled "It is empty." Cuter WC 818.
Does the note about credibility not guaranteed mean it's dangerous? The foundational story of "It is empty" is a satire of humanity's tendency to twist benevolence into something sinister by looking for hidden negative reasons. Contextually, this place has to be a good location that aligns with civilian interview accounts. I pressed the button next to the frosted glass door. The door slid open, revealing the interior of the tattoo shop. At a glance, it looked like an ordinary, modest shop. The facilities were slightly shabby but clean and well-maintained. A notice on the counter stated that they only performed one-on-one procedures. However, light streamed down onto the central tattoo chair. Curiously, the ceiling above the chair featured a transparent LED panel that allowed the moon to be visible, creating artificial moonlight that poured down in a focused beam. When I called out, the shop owner emerged from behind the counter. It was a woman with dense Korean script tattoos on her neck, wearing a sleeveless shirt. Her tied-back curly hair and confident demeanor immediately evoked the impression of a skilled technician or artist.
And I'd like to have a tattoo consultation. Is that possible? Could you let me know the price range?
The tattooist pointed at the wall behind the counter with a somewhat unassuming expression.
We only accept payments in kind.
This shop didn't accept cash. Instead, payment was made with items that the owner found appealing, with a particular preference.
Special condition. Items related to the sea.
Because of this, civilians who happened to meet this condition often had rare and extraordinary experiences.
Honestly, I just took a wrong turn. I was trying to find a tattoo shop near unknown station, but somehow I ended up in this area full of empty spaces. Then I found the tattoo shop in the basement. When I saw they accepted items related to the sea, I thought it was really unique. So, just to try it out, I showed them a sand timer keychain I happened to have. They accepted it. Afterward, they directed me to the central tattoo chair.
So I had prepared for this special condition in advance.
Would this be acceptable?
I opened the velvet-covered rectangular box I had brought in my briefcase. Inside, shimmering beads of light reflected brilliantly.
These are pearl beads.
These were extremely expensive marine pearls, perfectly spherical Akoya white-green pearls, 10 millimeters in size, with a pink aurora sheen that gave them a near-holographic appearance. It was a top-class item. Technically, there are more expensive sea-related items, but according to the civilian's account, the shop owner seemed particularly drawn to items influenced by the passage of time. Pearls, being organic and composed of protein, were inherently shaped by time. Besides, I managed to pick these up during a quick lunch break at a wholesaler in Jongno. Nod, 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 nod. The reaction was overwhelmingly positive. The tattooist stared in awe at the gleaming pearls before carefully accepting the box I offered. For a brief moment, joy flickered in her otherwise modest eyes. What could she possibly use them for? In any case, after organizing the box with incredible speed behind the counter, the tattooist politely gestured for me to proceed to the central chair, bathed in moonlight. The tattooist soon brought over a large lemon drink and a thick booklet. So far, everything was as described in the accounts. They brought me a lemon drink and a booklet, which seemed like a collection of tattoo designs. One was labeled Basic Design 3. I chose a tiny dolphin silhouette the size of a fingernail and got it done. During the process, they told me to close my eyes, and strangely, I felt no pain. I glanced at the cover of the booklet. If the person who gave a mother-of-pearl keychain received Basic Design 3, what could I expect after offering pearls worth millions of won? Granted, this might be an overly materialistic way of thinking. This is a small tattoo shop in a ghost story. A mystical shop owner might not respond to material offerings.
Royal Special Premium 1, customizable.
Money wins, once again. Anyway, the designs here seemed to reflect what my offering could earn me. I turned the pages of the booklet. Designs included constellations drawn with water droplets, a fusion of polar bear claws and Inuit patterns, and a wistful pastel-toned seascape at sunset. The collection was stunning. If I'd come here for the express purpose of getting a meaningful tattoo, I'd be poring over these designs with awe. But that wasn't my primary concern. The tattoo disappears the next day anyway. It would feel like you had dreamed it. You clearly got a tattoo, but it would be completely gone the next morning. But do you know what's stranger? The tattoo received here is absorbed into the person. I suddenly became great at swimming in the ocean, just like the dolphin I had tattooed. In other words, these tattoos grant special abilities based on the design. I can't miss this opportunity. In the something, there must be hundreds of ghost stories that grant people talents or powers, but very few do so in such a gentle and harmless way. In a world of ghost stories where you must sell your body, soul, or at least your conscience to gain anything, Moonlight Tattoo Shop was truly a rare beacon of light. I need to pick something worthwhile. I flipped through the pages with determination, deducing the abilities that each design might offer.
Mr. Roe Deer, I'd like to take a closer look too!
Ah, right. Braun might be able to glean more from this than I could. Carefully, I pulled the doll out of my pocket and placed it before the booklet. The tattooist suddenly stared at Braun with sparkling eyes. Then, before I could stop them, she picked up Braun.
Complimentary service.
Careful, please handle me gently. My body is filled with cotton, so I can't move very.
The tattooist placed Braun into a small basin they'd brought over, expertly applied aromatic oils, and started massaging the doll's fabric with practiced hands. Is this a spa treatment?
The fatigue from filming is melting away.
The plush doll sounded like an exhausted celebrity enjoying a high-end treatment. It was truly a surreal sight, one I'd never encountered in any ghost story. Was this heartwarming? Let's just pick a design. After the tattooist handed back a gleaming, revitalized Braun, I thanked her politely and returned to flipping through the booklet with vigor. Unfortunately, none of the designs had clear indications of their abilities. There was only a curious abundance of sea-related motifs.
And do you have any recommendations?
How about asking outright?
Are there any designs related to courage or boldness? Subbles of fearlessness?
Yes, this was what I needed most, to escape being a coward. As tempting as the other abilities were, my most fundamental and powerful, special ability was my knowledge from the something. That information was my greatest asset. But to use it effectively, I needed a rational mindset capable of sound judgment. I can't keep living with a heart that feels like it might stop from sheer panic. How many times had I almost died because of this cowardly heart? This is probably my one and only chance to visit Moonlight Tattoo Shop. It made sense to address my most urgent need first. Asking directly wasn't something covered in the records, so I was a little nervous. But the tattooist readily flipped through the booklet and pointed to a design. It was a tree bearing tomatoes. The design depicted dynamic branches, leaves, and fruit, drawn with bold, rustic strokes that resembled the marks of a well-worn pen nib. It was melancholic, rough, and poetic. The only color in the design was the bright red of the fruit, the tomatoes. How does this relate to courage? Honestly, I didn't understand. But since the tattooist communicated exclusively through the designs in the booklet, I couldn't get a detailed explanation. Still, it was a recommendation from the professional, so I figured it must be significant.
All right, I'll take this one.
The tattooist nodded happily and retrieved the booklet.
Oh, the placement will be here.
I rolled up my left sleeve. If I was getting it, I thought I'd place it near an existing tattoo anyway. Suddenly, the tattooist's expression shifted, and they stood up from their seat. They quickly pointed to a notice on the wall.
Tattoo services may be refused for specific reasons.
Then they pointed directly at my arm.
You can see these markings.
The tattooist nodded, looking at me as if it were the most obvious question in the world. Of course she would see them. She's part of a ghost story, too. But that wasn't the issue right now.
Are these markings the reason I can't get a new tattoo? Does that mean I also can't get one on my other arm or back? So, there's no way for me to get a new tattoo right now. I didn't even choose to have these markings in the first place. Isn't there any other way? I really want this.
I let my shoulders slump, feigning disappointment. The tattooist seemed taken aback and started contemplating something. After a moment, she pulled something out from behind the counter. A promotional pamphlet? The tattooist flipped through it quickly and pointed to a specific line on the page.
Cover-ups available. Transform your old tattoos into something new. Moonlight Tattoo Shop's cover-ups don't conceal the original tattoo. Instead, they amplify its charm. Retain its full meaning while discovering a new beauty.
Does this mean they're offering to enhance my existing tattoos?
Not bad! The theme park mascot and lodge caretaker tattoos were a bit much anyway. You should consider a more artistic choice. A nightjar, a constellation, the 8 trigrams! There are plenty of beautiful designs. It's better to cover them up with something stylish.
I glanced down at my arm.
I can have either of these enhanced.
The tattooist nodded. So, I can only get one new tattoo, but cover-ups are considered exceptions, allowing either to be enhanced. Still, I instinctively felt that choosing only one would yield better results. This shop clearly offers higher quality tattoos based on what you give. Dividing the value between two might dilute the outcome.
Please enhance this one.
I pointed at one of the tattoos on my arm.